Welcome to part two of Soul Healing, Meaning and Experiences. I hope you enjoy.
Sells their soul to the devil, then they're just basically closing down their heart. It's like they're selling potentially the heart aspect and everything that's divine within themselves in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in reincarnation, so that just sits with me.
Yep.
But who knows? I just feel that the sacrifices or the things that we do today can affect many lifetimes. And if it's bad enough and we're that disconnected, and it's all about people talk about healing past lives and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that can't happen. I'm not the expert, but I think if any past lives reflect this life anyway, and if you're too hurt by this life, you're trying to heal aspects, then even the potential of the idea of healing a past life may distance yourself enough for some healing to take place potentially.
Yep.
So I'm not saying there's one way or the other to heal. It's if you're less identified with pain on any level, you're not so attached to it, then there's a chance for healing. And however that's worded, or whatever the practice is, or whether it's soul healing or whether it's past life healing, and I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's all these things. The heart, it's all connecting with the heart, linked to many realms. So definitely these things can assist, but I don't promote them as the be all and end all. It's a matter of whichever way takes you deeper into your heart to become more connected with yourself. What's wrong with that process, no matter how it's named, And I'm even cautious in promoting things that I see or feel, because someone else's experience may be different. But the important thing is encouraging others to see and feel. See, feel, and heal. So it doesn't have to be my way. I keep saying it doesn't have to be my way or anyone else's. Everyone's way is unique, and no one can ultimately heal another. They can show a person how to heal themselves. And I had another experience. I saw a hypnotherapist for past life regression, and I saw myself. There's fighting with swords and things, and I saw myself over a dried up creek bed. There was bodies and blood everywhere, and I was there leaning on my sword. This is the experience that I felt anyway, and I was leaning on my sword. And the feeling within myself, and the reason, I'll go back a little, the reason I did this hypnosis, because I felt rage within me, like in my younger years, in my teenage years, and deep anger. And although I'd gone through certain suffering my parents fought at times, and went through a lot of challenges, the rage that I felt it didn't seem to match the experiences that I had this life, in the younger years, late 20s, could have been, or 20s or 30s, anyway, somewhere in that era, somewhere within those 20 years.
Yeah, long time ago.
So I wanted to work out what was going on. And and just a little while before this hypnosis, I saw a soul reader. That's what she called herself, a soul reader. And she tuned into me and said, I see extreme good in you and extreme dark. She's not even sure if you should look much further. So anyway, don't know why I threw that out there, but anyway. So there was the capacity, like I've always wanted to do the right thing, and in saying that I feared, what if I am bad? What if I am dark? And I wanted to see more understanding of myself. So I did this past life regression, and back to being a soldier, and I was leaning on my sword over this creek bed, and I felt I had to hold it together, and there was like soldiers around me, and I felt on some level that my soul was broken, like it was split into. So I understand how people might feel that. And because I feel like I killed a lot of people, and it broke me on some level, and I felt there was rage within me because it's not right. Discovering that and understanding that gave me a sense of, okay, yeah. So it gave me a deeper understanding within myself. There are things that potentially that life I could not come to terms with. So I really feel it can feel like there's your soul's cut into, but I feel it's just the heart anyway that's broken into, that's split, because you do something that's against humanity, whether you're aware of it or not. If you're disconnected or not, it breaks you on some level. And so it sort of breaks your heart, and the only way to really keep going forward is if you desensitize yourself from your heart. and to become disconnected. And the darker the realm you go into, the more these dark realms need to be fed. Where truth, this is the beauty about truth, as you go deeper into your heart, truth and the light doesn't need to be fed. It's a natural way. From what I've seen and experienced on some levels, with others, it's like, well, dark realms or dark things need to constantly be fed and serviced, so to speak. It's like even the darkness within your own mind. It needs to be maintained. It has to be maintained for it to stay. So it seeks and challenges one to continually feed it. So without awareness, you can get sucked into a place of suffering where your mind and psyche demands that you keep justifying and feeding this negativity to your own detriment, and in the end it can swallow you up. So I feel we all have to at some point face ourselves and stop the continual mind banter and chatter, and that tells us we deserve suffering, or that we're right, they're wrong, and we're right in our suffering. It's like that makes no sense to me. If you're suffering, you're not right at all, and you're still not understanding yourself or why the other person's invoking suffering on you. And doesn't mean understanding them doesn't mean you'll change them. It just means that you'll start understanding how lost another person is, or how much suffering they are in themselves, or maybe how evil they are.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can make a choice and you can start changing your way. It's a pretty full-on conversation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think, with believing something, you're creating that reality. So to break through, you need to start questioning your belief systems. And that's where what you've been saying all along, question your thoughts, because sometimes those beliefs don't serve you.
Absolutely. Well, you've known me for a while now, and I've never said the soul does this or this does that. I talk in realms of possibility and discovering heart and opening and getting out of your head. Don't I? All the time. Like I've always encouraged getting in touch with your heart to be able to unravel and discover things and become more intuitive.
Yeah.
And discover more aspects of yourself, which you have done and noticed yourself, haven't you? So
Yeah.
it's about the meaning of the experience.
Mm.
It's not about the experience itself, or if you're visited by an angel or a deity or something profound happens. It's not. It's the meaning and the inspiration you gain from that, because someone else may get the same meaning or something similar from a different vision.
Yep.
So rather than justify our visions, I don't need to justify any visions or anything that I've had. It's the experience, and it's how it impacts me. It's how I choose to live from those experiences. So rather than proving that my experience is right and someone else is wrong, and someone would discredit, and people go, "Oh, it's rubbish. This didn't happen, or that didn't happen, or that's just silly." It's like, no, it came to that person.
Yeah.
I had a woman spoke to me a number of years ago, and from a dolphin realm. I said, "Oh, that's great. It's fantastic. Like, who am I to say no? You're not. That's silly." I said, "Yeah, that's great." She said, "I'm having trouble here and doing this, and and I said, "That's great that you're from where you feel you're from and your experiences are fantastic." I said, "But you're in this realm now, so no matter how far, no matter how high you feel you got on the other realm, you're here now. So rather than discredit anyone, it's like, well, since you're here having a human experience, learn how to be here and learn how to see through things here. There's no need to discredit anyone for anything. It's like, well, what can you access? If you can access other places or other experiences or other lives, if you feel, or wherever you feel you're from, if you can access that, or if you feel you're from those places, then use that knowledge and understanding from wherever you feel you're from. Use it here to make yourself better here and expand yourself here. And ultimately, this is my goal, is to connect and expand to all realms. Ultimately, it might sound obviously be crazy, but you're hooked by now. Either way, you don't believe in this stuff, you wouldn't be listening here anyway. But expand. Don't limit yourself. You limit yourself by, I don't do seances, I don't do dark things, so they're my limitations. But those energies and the mix of energies and balance of all energies, good and light, good, dark, light, everything is all here. Just a question of what you focus on.
Yeah.
So where, for example, Shiva some people might think, oh, the great destroyer destroys everything, and he symbolizes destruction and destroying. Some people might think that energy is dark, but I think, okay, it destroys the old to bring in the new. So I don't see that energy is dark. And some people might fear Shiva, obviously the Indian deity. All these deities and all these beings don't promote fear for me. They promote unconditional love and the balance of all things. It's hard to filter out certain specific energies where we are, where we're living. It's just a matter of where instead of blocking certain energies, to see through them all. That's the goal. And as you become lighter in your heart and you focus more on love and light and understanding and peace, then they're the energies you pick up on in your day-to-day life. I just feel it's like consciousness in a way. We all tap into it and we all draw from and the balance of all understanding. This is how I like to see it in a sense. This is what sort of how I make sense of it. It's like there's radio stations with all languages, everything playing, and the ones that all the meanings, the words, the feelings, everything that we will tune into or pick up on are the ones that we're tuned to.
Yeah.
So as you attune more deeply within yourself, the vibration, what you draw from, or draw on, is heightened, is more meaningful, is deeper in a way. It has a more deeper sense of peace. So it's the identification with suffering is tuning into those lower frequencies or vibrations, because you identify with certain words, certain phrases, certain inadequacies that you feel of not being whole, and that's the entrapment. So it's discovering that you are whole, and you just have to see through the ideas that are telling you something else.
Yep.
So yeah, go where you're drawn, and if something doesn't serve you, look to see through and discard it. And you may have to replace it with something, the practice that's more self-serving, and so, as in serving the true self, not the egoic self. When I say self-serving, I tend to talk about or mean it as in serving your higher self. And it doesn't matter other people's interpretation. It's what matters is your interpretation and what you can gain from any experience. I encourage everyone to look for something for stimulation, to discover more and more of the portal or gateway to everything, which is your heart, your very own heart.
Well, the thing that I was thinking about after this was, because you did touch on, selling your soul and stuff like that. So that's why I thought we'd go there next.
Yeah, okay.
With the dark aspects and the devil and the hellfire and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's all fear-based anyway. To me, it's a control tool, but anyway.
Yeah, it still comes into the reason people do souls with the devil, so to speak, is because they're not enough. They feel they're not enough. They're failing. They want fame. They want this. They want the external things. But I think it's key to let people know that why would you be able to sell your soul, which is meant to be eternal, in one life's experience, and like a very short period of one life's experience? I don't think it's it's not the ego's call on what it can and can't sell that's divine. I think that's the key thing here. So it's an idea of selling the soul, and I think if you make a certain contract agreement karmically, I doubt you can go back. But who knows? So there's a story. I can't remember there was years ago there was a guy, or like a pretty evil, pretty dark soul that would basically cut people's ears off and make necklaces out of it. This is maybe a few hundred years ago or so. I'll have to maybe find his name, but he awakened. He discovered his heart and woke up. And how that happened, actually, he used to collect ears. Like he was making a mala, and he needed, I think, one or two ears to go. And a awakened being said, "He have mine," because he was cutting the ears off other people. And this being offering his ears and self-sacrificing himself woke up this dark being, and he awakened. And he just went completely opposite and started helping and saw his heart, and everything changed. So not to say you can't awaken at certain times, and not to say he did might have just been dark evil. Could have had, who knows if it's true or not.
Mm.
But there's no escaping karma, which is with certain actions you set in motion other actions, other things coming back. The universe balances itself out. So karma, I don't believe, is neither good or bad. It's just the result of your choice and the result of your actions. This dark, dangerous being woke up and completely changed his ways, and I'm not sure he started teaching others. Potentially he did. And I think it's pretty well, I think this is known. People may know who the name of this being is, but he died a brutal death when he died.
Mm-hmm.
And you could easily say that was karma. That's obviously what happened. So,
yeah,
exactly. So the story goes. So I don't like this. I don't like saying there's no way out. And who's to say, who am I to say there is no way out?
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the darker you become, the more encased you becoming suffering. It's different from when you're suffering, you feel like you can't do anything about it, when you're actually doing practices that are dark and you're invoking and you're trying to, you're feeding other things, so to speak. That's something else, I think. But when you're broken and suffering and you're encased in darkness through mental illness, there's always a chance of waking up, I believe. And I just feel that, sorry, I was going to say that the more dark practices or dark arts you do, the more of a sheath you put around yourself or a layer that shuts out the light. So it will be harder for you to wake up because you're just encasing layers and layers of darkness around you. So I feel doing practices in dark arts as opposed to suffering through confusion or being lost, they're worlds apart in my view.
Do you think that reincarnation could be a way of resetting? So you can have a lifetime of doing that, and then a way out of that is to reincarnate and then maybe make amends to that, sort of, do the karmic work.
Well, I feel this is, as Krishna says, as I said earlier, all beings that come to me from all sides, we're all drawn into God ultimately. And I think you've got to have to go through certain lifetimes and certain challenges to wake up. You have to earn it, in my view. And that's just what I feel. Who knows? But I think reincarnation most likely is karma playing itself out anyway.
Yeah.
And let's say consciousness or the universe is the whole point is to awaken and become more and more light, so to speak. Then you've got to go through suffering, and it all has to be earned. Nothing's given freely. It appears.
Yeah.
So yeah, if the world's potentially expanding or the universe is expanding, and potentially in that expansion uplifting, or going to higher vibration, or how do we get to higher vibration? Work through the shit, so to speak.
Yeah.
It doesn't come. It doesn't. It's natural in a sense that I think the higher vibration is when you're not clinging to things. But to earn the right to go there, you have to go through the darkness. You have to raise your vibration. It doesn't. Well, in a sense, it happens naturally, but the conditioning brings it down. So the human condition has to be broken through, in my view.
Yep.
So, but to say, is that why we incarnate? Who knows? It's like saying, why do we have a soul? Well, potentially that's agreement. That's who knows? Pre-programmed to the things we need to learn and discover to awaken, or that's it's a higher aspect. So it's all speculation. But one thing that we can say is, the more you go into the heart, the more love and joy and meaning we feel, and that gives you access to more past lives, to tracing energies, to all sorts of things. So the way through, in my view, my experience, is through heart, which is the portal once again to everything.
Yeah.
And heart and soul, maybe they're the same thing, but they're absolutely linked in my field, because you can get a sense of purpose. I think we talk about soul aspect and the purpose of the soul, and creatively through heart anyway. If they're not one and the same thing, they're definitely directly linked to each other. Well, so it feels. How it feels anyway. And even if it's wrong, just to have that thought, that feel, promotes the drive and the passion to want to dive more deeply into that. Even if someone says I'm wrong, well, it works for me, and it pushes me more into the line and more into seeking and more into heart, and expands the capacity for unconditional love. And it may not be the the exact same path for someone else, but it's the path for me. And as I become more and more inspired and expand and open, and the path seems to speed up and it becomes more joyous, and who knows what we may see. Like I said, I feel it's the meaning we gain from an experience as opposed to proving it right or wrong. I think that is just why do I want to break someone else's dream or validate or discredit someone else's experience, especially if it inspires them.
Yeah, exactly.
People tell me certain experience, what do you feel for this or what do you feel with that? And I just try and tune in and get a sense of the inspiration and the potential for more from any experience. I'm an extreme optimist in a way. I'd rather find the meaning rather than the ball, filing ball and chain. Oh, you got a ball and chain there. Yeah, you're going to have a tough one, dragging that around for the rest of your life. Like, what's the point in that? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
We ultimately have to talk about and discuss how to set people free, or at least encourage them to take the journey to set themselves free. And obviously that's everything that we're about. That's why we're doing this, of course. My obviously, why I do things is a bit different, where I'll it's more openness and it's more intangible in some ways. What we talk about, it's hard to put your finger on what it is that we're sort of offering in a sense.
Yeah.
But we're just using words to try and point in a certain direction and hope people don't look at our finger, rather look at the direction where
it's going. Yeah. Yeah.
So be open to possibilities, and I know nothing.
There it is.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening in, everyone. And we look forward to the next one. Any questions or anything pops into your mind, be sure to comment or send us a line, and we'll talk again soon.